Impeach! 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 Sara now!
Inireklamo ni Second Gentleman Attorney Manasseh Carpio ng paglabag umano sa Anti-Money Laundering Act, Bank Secrecy Law at Data Privacy Act sina Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Ellie Remolona, Anti-Money Laundering Council or AMLAC Executive Director Ronel Benaventura at ilang miyembro ng House Committee on Justice. Dahil yan sa iligal umanong pagpapalabas ng bank records nila ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa impeachment hearings. Ayon sa abogado ni Carpio, political harassment ang ginagawa sa pamilya Duterte kaugnay sa paparating na eleksyong 2028.
Hindi naman po parte ng impeachment si Atty. Carpio. Pinipilit po siya na madawit sa impeachment na pribadong individual. Diba? Hindi naman porket may akusasyon ka o meron kang hinanaing sa isang tao, pwede ka nang gumawa ng labag sa batas. Nasabi, transaction yun ni VP Sara, allegedly. Diba? So I think the lawyers of VP Sara can adequately answer that. And I think they have, no? They have denied it. Si Atty. Carpio, hindi naman siya politiko. Bakit kailangan mo pang usisahin ng tax returns niya at saka mga kanyang mga bank transactions, di ba? It's a fishing expedition. Paano namin ma-deny or ma-admit yung mga sinasabing transaction kung hindi naman kami binigyan ng kopya nung AMLAC at hindi naman namin kami binibigyan ng kopya ng mga reports kung saan galing ang summary ng AMLAC. Kung gusto nang usisahin yung mga bank reports, bank information, meron namang paraan sa batas. Diba? Pero ang sinasabi namin, yung AMLA mismo, hindi pwede maglabas ng kahit anumang informasyon na nakuha nila galing sa mga bangko. Sila po yung nag-udyok na ilabas. Diba? Sila yung nag-motion, sila yung nag-second demotion, at pinirmahan yung subpoena. Na dahil dun sa pinirmahan nilang subpoena, nilabas naman ng AMLAC. So, yun po yung kaso namin. Pero in my, sa pag-uusap namin ni Atty. Carpio, he vehemently denies having 6 billion ba yun o 3 billion? He vehemently denies that.
May buwelta naman si House Justice Committee Chairperson Jervil Jinky Luistro. Iginiit ni Luistro na walang nilabag na batas ang House Justice Committee kaugnay ng paglalabas ng impormasyon sa impeachment hearing laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Ito ay kaugnay ng nakatagdang pagsasampa ng criminal complaint ni Mans Carpio, asawa ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Ayon kay Luistro, bahagi ito ng maaaring gawin ng depensa, ngunit maliwanag na ayaw lang ng kampo ni Duterte na maisapubliko ang mga nasabing impormasyon at nais lang na harangin ito. Binigyang diin din niya ang pagkakaiba ng bank records at covered or suspicious transactions. Anya, ang bank records ay protektado ng Bank Secrecy Law, habang ang mga transaksyon na tinalakay sa pagdinig ay mula sa dokumento ng Anti-Money Laundering Council at saklaw ng supina ng komite.
Alam mo, Alvin, this is one of their options, no? As a matter of fact, nauna na yung maraming petitions doon sa Supreme Court. We have, I think, a total of 4 petitions already pending before the Supreme Court. Meron pa isang petition nandito sa RTC Quezon City. At ngayon, ang balita, they will be filing a criminal case for violation of the confidentiality, no? Against us. That includes me, some members of the Justice Committee, and even the AMLAC and the BSP. Lahat ng ito, Alvin, are part of the options of the defense, no? Pero ang maliwanag, they are really against the disclosure of this information. These are attempts to suppress the disclosure of this information, no? Tayo sa Justice Committee, in my capacity as chairperson, we maintain the position that we did not violate any law. Neither the provisions of the Bank Secrecy nor the provisions of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, no?
Opo. Ay, pero teka muna, sabi mo option nila yon, ano po? Pero naninindigan po ba ng komite na pinamumunuan po ninyo na walang mali sa ginawa ninyong pagsasapubliko ng bank transactions ng pangalawang Pangulo?
First and foremost, Alvin, no? Paulit-ulit natin yan dinidistinguish during the hearing. Hindi po bank records ang ating sinapina. Ang sinapina po natin are covered transactions and suspicious transactions. It is our position to make a distinction between bank records, which is covered by the confidentiality in bank secrecy law, and the transactions which were made the subject matter of the subpoena. Pag sinabi mo kasing transactions, document yan ng AMLAC, no? But when you say records, document yan ng bangko. So in as far as we are concerned, pagdating sa bank secrecy law, there is no violation. Now, if they will be raising the violation of confidentiality of AMLAC, this is my answer to that. This is an impeachment case, and therefore, the totality of all the laws pertaining to transactions and bank records must be considered, no? This is an accountability mechanism, and therefore, the exception provided in the bank secrecy law must be interpreted in such a way that it should cover any other confidentiality in other existing laws. Otherwise, wala nang matutuloy na impeachment on the ground of unexplained wealth. No? We've been very, very cautious. As a matter of fact, mahaba ang deliberations natin dyan during the hearing before we finally proceeded to hearing the report of the AMLC. We are aware of the confidentiality provision in the bank secrecy law. We are likewise aware of the confidentiality provision in the AMLAC, but we are giving spirit to the intentions, the rationale behind this accountability mechanism.
Binatikos din ni na House Committee on Public Accounts Chair Terry Ridon at iba pang mamambabatas ang reklamong kriminal na inihain ni Attorney Manasseh Manscarpio laban sa Anti-Money Laundering Council or AMLAC at ilang miyembro ng Kamara. Ayon kay Ridon, pampagulo lamang ang nasabing hakbang at walang matibay na legal na basihan. Binigyang diin din niya na sa halip na harapin at sagutin ang ulat ng AMLAC hinggil sa questionabling 6.77 bilyong bank transactions ay tila lalo lamang pinalalabo ng kampo ni Carpio ang usapin sa pamamagitan ng paghahain ng kaso. Iginiit pa ng mga mambabatas na ang paglalabas ng naturang impormasyon sa mga pagdinig ay bahagi ng kanilang tungkulin sa pagbusisi ng katotohanan at hindi dapat ituring na paglabag sa batas.
Ngayon po, pumasok po tayo doon sa pagkakaso ni Attorney Manscarpio kahapon laban sa BSP, laban sa AMLC, at laban ho sa House Committee on Justice members. No? Ang paninindigan ho ng komite ay ito po ay panggugulo, panglilihis. Doon sa unang tanong ho natin, saan galing ang pera, saan napunta ang pera, saan galing ang 4.44 billion, saan po napunta yung 1.5 billion, bakit may 6.77 billion in total transactions ang mag-asawang Duterte Carpio. Yan po yung mahalagang sagutin. At ang totoo ho, sa pagka-file ni Attorney Carpio kahapon at pagrereklamo on disclosure ng kanila daw po mga AMLAC records, implicitly, ito po ay pag-amin na tama, totoo, yung pong mga numerong pinag-uusapan nila. At the very least, sa complaint po nila mismo, wala pong pagtanggi na ito po ay hindi totoong mga numero. Ang sabi ho nila, ito po daw ay pagbasag ng confidentiality provisions sa ilalim po ng AMLC. Di po yung totoo, dahil meron pong malinaw din pong provision doon sa AMLC amendment na meron pong karapatang magkaroon ng information sharing sa pagitan ng mga opisina ng pamahalaan. Hindi po pinapayagan ng AMLC na hindi po pwedeng pabayaan ng AMLC na hindi po pwedeng hanapin yung pong mga nagma-money laundering sa atin pong bansa. Wala ho nga katotohanan yung sinasabi nila na absoluto daw po yung confidentiality sa ilalim po ng AMLC. Kasi nga, pinapayagan po yung information sharing sa pagitan ng mga opisina. And consequently, meron pong kapangyarihan, poder, ang Kongreso o Senado pagdating ng Senate impeachment trial na magsubpoena ho ng mga dokumento katulad po ng mga AMLC transaction reports para magkaroon ho ng aktual na pananagutan. Dito po sa 6.77 billion, 4.44 44 billion in inflows. Hindi ba? Tingin ko it was never designed like that. And more importantly, yung pong confidentiality provision po ng AMLC, ito po ay pagbabawal sa mga taga-AMLC na kumanta doon po sa mga iniimbestigahan ho nilang mga personalidad. Hindi po ito linikha para pigilan po yung pagpapanagot sa mga tao pong ito. At panghuli, syempre binabanggit din ho nila yung bank secrecy law. Ang totoo naman ho, hindi ho covered ang AMLC ng bank secrecy law dahil una, hindi ho sila bangko. Pangalawa, yung pong bank secrecy law po mismo, meron pong exception para sa mga impeachment cases. E ano ho bang ginagawa ho natin ngayon? Hindi ba impeachment case na ho ito? May pinapasagot na respondent, high-level official, meron pong mga nagrereklamo, meron pong mga ebidensya at dokumento na inalalatag po sa komite. Kaya inaasahan ho natin sa pinakamaagang panahon, mababasura po dapat ng piskalya yung pong kaso pong ito ni Attorney Carpio laban sa BSP, AMLC at sa mga miyembro po ng House Committee on Justice.
Private individual po eh. Private individual daw siya, kaya hindi dapat kinakalkal yung kanyang records, ano po. Pero bilang asawa po ng sitting Vice President, Congressman Terry, ay lehitimo ba itong tanungin sa issue po ng public accountability?
Kailangan natin maglinaw. Una ho sa lahat, hindi ho, ang sabi nila kahapon, ordinaryong mamamayan lang ho si Attorney Carpio. Hindi ho siya ordinaryong mamamayan. Siya po ay asawa ng pangalawang pinaka makapangyarihang tao sa Pilipinas. Pangalawa, yung pong mga dokumentong isinusumite sa pamahalaan, lagi ho silang magkakasama. So yung pong ITR ni Vice President Duterte, magkasama ho sila doon. Joint filing po sila doon. Pangalawa, doon po sa SALN, yung pong mga pag-aari ni Attorney Carpio ay nakalista rin po doon sa SALNs po na yun. So, ano ho yung pagkakaiba ngayon? Doon sa gusto ho nilang ihiwalay. Ito po nga AMLC report doon sa pagkakaroon po nila ng pagsasama. More importantly, mag-asawa ho sila eh. So, ibig sabihin, ang pag-aari ho ng isa, pag-aari ho ng pangalawa kasi conjugal po ang pag-aari po na ito. And very important ho, makita talaga natin yung entire financial picture. Hindi ho natin yan magagawa kung hindi ho kasali si Attorney Carpio.
Kung sakali man, Congressman Terry, kung katigan po ng korte yung isinampang kaso ni Attorney Carpio, ano po ang magiging epekto nito sa impeachment proceedings po laban kay VP Sara?
Tingin ko hindi maabot ng korte yan. Tingin ko mababasura agad sa piskalya yan. Kasi wala ho yung batayan eh. Katulad ng binanggit ko, hindi ho yan na batayan. Lalo't higit, meron ho kapangyarihan ng Kongreso to impeachment proceedings na makapagsabtina po ng mga dokumento. May sinasabi silang confidentiality. Confidentiality ho yun dun sa pagkanta sa mga iniimbestigahan. Isa ho dun sa provisions po ng MLC, yung tinatawag pong information sharing. Ibig sabihin na ho, pwede mag-information share sa iba't ibang mga opisina ho ng pamahalaan para ho magpanagot. Ganyan ho yung basic context kung bakit ho namin hiningi yung transaction reports mula sa MLC. It was never meant to shield those who undertake money laundering offenses in our country.
Ang impeachment official, of course, si VP Sara as Vice President, malinaw yon. But syempre, kailangan din tingnan yung mga joint na mga mga dealings and joint na mga transaction nila, joint nila na pag-aari. Kasi nga, conjugal ito, mag-asawa sila. Wala naman tayong impormasyon na hindi na sila mag-asawa. Wala naman tayong impormasyon na na-annul na yung marriage nila. Wala tayong impormasyon na meron silang legal separation. Mag-asawa po sila and therefore conjugal ang mga assets na yan. So pwedeng tingnan.
Kumbaga po, pwede kasing itago doon sa private na asawa kung private person na asawa.
That's another thing. Tama ka. Yes. Pwede kasing itago. Pwede kasing itago sa asawa as a private dahil nga private citizen or private person siya. Pero but it does not immunize her kasi nga conjugal yan. Yes.
Well, he is married to the vice president, and they're under the the laws that we have in the country, their properties are communal in nature. So there should be every reason to look into the properties of both spouses. At the same time, kailangan din natin makita yung, based on what was alleged in the complaint, kung ano man talaga yung basis for those claims of unexplained wealth. Yun eh, kaya ako, we will answer those allegations in the proper forum. But from where we stand, ginagawa lang naman namin yung aming tungkulin bilang Committee on Justice sa ilalim ng impeachment process.
I will vote for probable cause. I'm quite certain a lot of members of the Justice Committee will vote for probable cause tomorrow. Sorry? I think it will be the same number of votes that we had seen in previous votings, no? Particularly on substance and form.
Because, how do you say so?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
How do you say so? So, bakit?
No, very important ho yung pagdinig ko in the previous week, no? I was being asked if I see it as a smoking gun. Nasabi ko ho kanina, hindi ho yan smoking gun. Nuclear bomb ho yan. Kasi 6.7 billion in total transactions, 4.4 billion in inflows, pumasok na pera sa mga bangko po ng mag-asawa, 1.5 billion na lumabas po sa bangko ng mag-asawa. Paano magpapaliwanag ng mga abogado, public official, may mga naluluging negosyo po ito? Ang tanong sa kanila, saan galing ang 4.4 billion? Saan napunta yung pong 1.5 billion? Paano nagkaroon ng scale of financial transactions na 6.7 billion?
Kaugnay nito, binatikos rin ni Terry Ridon ang paliwanag ng kampo ni Sara Duterte tungkol sa kanyang salin dahil lalo lamang umano nitong nililito ang publiko. Ito ay kaugnay sa pahayag ni Attorney Michael Poa, ang abogado ni VP Sara Duterte, na ang cash on hand at cash in bank ay isinama sa kategoryang others kaya walang hiwalay na nakalagay. Para kay Ridon, dapat maging direkta at malinaw ang paliwanag upang maiwasan ang dagdag na duda sa transparency at pananagutan ng mga opisyal.
The Honorable Chua is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, since nandito na po yung ating ombudsman, base po sa imbitasyon ng subpoena na itong committee, pwede po ba ako mag-proceed para sa aking clarificatory question?
You may proceed, Honorable Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ombudsman, kayo po ay naanyahan ngayong araw para makapagdala po ng salin ng ating Vice President base po sa para po makatulong sa amin sa determination of probable cause sa salin violation or sa ill-gotten wealth. Pwede ko po bang matanong kung dala po ninyo yung salin ng ating Vice President?
Magandang umaga po. Dala po namin ang mga salin na hinihingi po ng komite ayon sa subpoena duces tecum na inyong ibinigay sa amin.
May we direct the committee secretary to receive the copy of the salins which are being submitted by the Office of the Ombudsman so that the same will form part of the records of our proceeding. Ombudsman?
Bago ho nagsimula ang ating pagdinig, ibinigay na po namin ang mga kopya ng subpoena, mga kopya ng mga dokumentong hinihingi ng komite sa amin.
The committee notes that the Ombudsman already submitted ahead of the commencement of this proceeding. Honorable Chua?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, gusto ko pong tanungin ang ating Ombudsman kasi base po dun sa paragraph 107 ng Sabalya Complaint, ang ating pong Vice Presidente ay naging Vice Mayor ng Davao noong taong 2007 hanggang 2010. At siya rin po ay naging alkalde ng Davao mula 2010 hanggang 2013, 2016 hanggang 2019, at 2019 hanggang 2022. But I notice, Madam Chair, ang naibigay lamang sa ating mga dokumento dito ay mula 2016 hanggang 2024. Pwede ko po bang malaman nasaan po yung SALN nung taong 2007 hanggang 2015 nung ang ating pong Vice President ay Vice Mayor at Mayor ng Davao?
Isang ano lang ho, no? Isang paglilinaw. Kasama ko po rito ang aming opisyal ng Ombudsman, si Attorney Karen Batu ng Central Records Division upang sumagot po sa mga tanong na partikular tungkol po sa mga dokumento sapagkat hindi ko po nakakikita itong mga dokumentong ito sapagkat iba po ang aking ginagawa sa Office of the Ombudsman. Maaari po, ipasa na po ang mikropono kay Attorney Karen Batu.
We recognize Attorney Batu. Please answer the question.
Good morning, Your Honor. Based po dun sa submission namin earlier before the proceedings, kasama po sa sinabit namin yung 2007 to 2012 SALN ng ating Vice President. May certification din po tayo na yung subpoena po kasi is from 2007 to 2013, 2016 to 2022. So yung 2015 po hindi po kasama sa mga sinasubpoena sa Office of the Ombudsman. Ang kulang lang po sa mga sinubmit namin.
Attorney Batu, if I may interrupt, kindly speak closer to the microphone.
Sorry po. Ulitin ko po, Your Honor, ang meron po kaming sinubmit 2007 to 2012. Yung pong mga SALN na yon came from our area office from the Mindanao. Kasi sila po yung repository or custodian ng SALN during the time na City Vice Mayor and Mayor po yung ating Vice President. So we requested pa po. So kasama po yun ngayon sa sinubmit namin. Nandun po yun sa submission namin before the proceedings.
Okay, kasi meron lamang po ako dito is 2016 hanggang 2024.
Kasama po yun sa binigay po namin sa COMSEC ngayon.
Okay. Anyway, with that, siguro magsisimula na lang akong magtanong from 2016 to 2024 dahil yun lang ang meron akong record dito at hindi po sa akin na ibigay ng...
If I may interrupt, Honorable Chua. COMSEC, please be directed to provide copy of the SALN submitted by the OMB to the justice members. And later to the complainant and the respondent.
Okay. May I proceed now, Madam Chair?
Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, gusto ko pong tanungin ang ating kagalang-galang na ombudsman. Base po dito sa SALN na isinumiti po ninyo dito sa committee, maaari niyo po bang i-confirm na yung SALN po ng ating Vice President noong taong 2007, habang siya po ay Vice Mayor ng Davao, ay may declared net worth na 7.250,497.
For the guidance of the justice members, the question is anchored on the 2016 SALN. So
2007.
2007. COMSEC kindly flash the concerned SALN for the guidance of the members.
2007. Declared net worth.
Your Honor, I will just read the content ng 2007 SALN ng ating Vice President. And it is stated here na ang kanyang net worth is 7,250,497.
Okay, so kino-confirm po ninyo. Tama po.
Yun po yung nakalagay dito sa SALN niya.
Thank you po.
Can we flash the amount of net worth? There. 7,250,000.
All right. So dito po sa 7,250,000 sa kanya pong SALN, magkano po yung kanyang dineklara na cash at saka cash deposit?
Again, reading from the SALN submitted by the Vice President, yung cash on hand and bank niya for the year, various years acquired is 2 million.
2 million. Okay, thank you po. Doon po sa kanyang 2008, sabi po niya, ang declared net worth po ng ating Vice President at that time, Vice Mayor po siya, noong 2008, is 18.493,616.65. Tama po ba to? Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, based on the 2008 submitted SALN, the net worth of the Vice President then is 18,493,616.65.
Okay. At magkano naman po ang dineklara niyang cash at cash deposit po sa kanyang SALN noong 2008?
Ang declaration po niya dito sa kanyang 2008 SALN is 2 million din po, Your Honor.
2 million ng cash. Salamat po. Punta po tayo sa kanyang SALN noong 2009 habang siya po ay Vice Mayor ng Davao. May declared net worth po siya na 18,821,264.65. Tama po ba?
Please flash 2009 SALN.
Your Honor, again, reading from the 2009 submitted SALN of the Vice President, ang kanyang net worth then is 18,281,264.65.
Ano po? 18 million?
281,264.65.
At 281, sorry. Okay. At magkano naman po ang kanyang dineclare na cash at cash deposit po dito?
Based on the submission of the Vice President, the cash on hand bank was 2,800,000 po.
2,800,000. Maraming salamat po. Dumako naman po tayo sa 2010 na SALN ng ating Vice President habang siya po ay Vice Mayor ng Davao. Meron po ditong nakadeclared na net worth na 16,242,886.65. Kinukumpirma po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, again, based on the submission of the 2010 SALN by the Vice President, her net worth then was 16,242,886.65.
Maraming salamat po. At magkakano naman po yung halaga na idineklara niya na cash at cash deposit po sa kanyang SALN noong 2010 SALN?
Based on her submission, the cash on hand bank during the time was 3,661,622.
Alright, maraming salamat po. Dumako naman po tayo sa 2011 na SALN po ng ating Vice President habang siya po ay Vice Mayor ng Davao. May declared net worth po siya na 14,271,148.45. Kinukumpirma po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, reading from the from the 2011 SALN submitted by the Vice President, her net worth then was declared as 14,271,148.46.
At magkano naman po ang halaga ng kanya na dineklara po niyang cash at cash deposit sa kanya pong SALN noong 2011?
The declared cash on hand bank for the 2011 SALN was 3,931,125.80.
Okay. Dumako naman po tayo sa kanyang 2012 na SALN habang siya po ay Vice Mayor ng Davao. Meron po siya ditong declared net worth na 22,116,101.93. Kinukumpirma po ba ninyo to?
Again, Your Honor, reading from the submitted 2012 SALN of the Vice President, her declared net worth was 22,116,101.93.
At magkano po yung kanyang dineklarang cash at cash deposit po sa nasabing taon, 2012?
Your Honor, yung declared cash on hand bank niya for the 2012 SALN was 4,320,532.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Pumunta naman po tayo sa kanyang 2016 SALN habang siya po ay alkalde po ng Davao. Dito po meron po siyang declared net worth nilang mag-asawa, no? 34,895,997. Ito po ba'y kinukumpirma ninyo?
Again, Your Honor, reading from the submitted SALN, 2016 SALN by the Vice President, ang nakalagay po dito na net worth niya is 34,895,997.
Maraming salamat po. At magkakano naman po yung kanyang dineklara na cash at cash deposit sa kanyang 2016 SALN?
Dito po sa kanyang 2016 SALN, ang nakalagay po na cash on hand bank, 3,750,760.
Maraming salamat po. Dumako naman po tayo sa kanyang 2017 SALN. Habang siya po ay alkalde ng Davao City, sabi po sa kanyang SALN, siya po ay nagdeklara ng 44,828,759. Kinukumpirma po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, reading from the submitted 2017 SALN of the Vice President, her net worth then was 44,828,759.
Maraming salamat po. At magkakano naman po yung kanyang declared cash at cash deposit noong taong 2017?
Based on her submission, Your Honor, the cash on hand and bank was declared to be 6,368,596.
Maraming salamat po. Dumako naman po tayo sa kanyang 2018 SALN. Habang siya po ay alkalde po ng Davao City, tama po ba na ang declared net worth po nilang mag-asawa ay 49,699,728? Kino-confirm po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, again, I'm reading from the 2018 submission, SALN submission of the Vice President. Ang kanya pong declared net worth then was 49,699,728.
At magkakano man po dyan yung kanyang declared na cash at cash deposit noong taong 2018?
Based on her submission, Your Honor, ang declared cash po niya was 3,795,000.
All right. Dumako naman po tayo sa kanyang 2019 SALN habang siya po ay alkalde po ng Davao City. Ang kanya pong declared net worth nilang mag-asawa ay 55,613,051. Tama po ba to? Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, I'm reading the 2019 SALN submitted by the Vice President, and it is stated here that her net worth for then was 55,613,051 po.
At magkakano naman po yung kanyang cash at cash deposit noong taong 2019?
Your Honor, based po dito sa submission niya ng 2019 SALN, wala po nakadeclare na cash on hand.
Wala
or
po,
bank.
walang cash or cash deposit na dineklara. 2019. Tignan po ninyo na maigi.
Your Honor, after checking it again, wala po nakalagay na
Alright.
cash on hand.
Wala pong cash
Or
on
bank.
hand. Dumako po tayo sa kanyang 2020 na SALN habang siya po ay alkalde ng Davao. Meron po siyang dineclare na net worth nilang mag-asawa, 56,583,735.01. Kinokonfirma po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, again, reading from the submitted 2020 SALN of the Vice President, ang declared net worth po niyan at the time was 56,583,735.1.
At magkakano naman po yung kanyang cash at cash deposit noong taong 2020?
Your Honor, based on this 2020 SALN, wala pong nakadeclare na cash on hand or cash deposit ang Vice President.
Wala rin pong cash tsaka cash deposit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Paki-double check po ninyo.
Your Honor, after checking it, we can confirm na wala po nakalagay na cash on hand or deposit declared sa 2020 SALN of the Vice President.
Okay, thank you po. Punta po tayo sa kanyang 2021 na SALN habang siya po ay alkalde ng Davao. Ang kanya pong declared net worth nilang mag-asawa po dito ay 65,308,841. Tama po ba? Kinukumpirma po ba ninyo to?
Your Honor, again, I'm reading that the 2021 SALN submitted by the Vice President at ang declared net worth po niya was 65,308,841.
At magkakano naman po yung kanyang declared na cash at cash deposit sa kanyang SALN noong 2021?
Your Honor, based on the 2021 submitted SALN of the Vice President, wala pong declared cash on hand or bank deposits.
So 3 taon na po na wala siyang declared, 19, 20, 21. Tama po ba?
Based on the submitted SALN, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Dumako naman po tayo sa kanyang 2022 na SALN habang siya po ay Vice President. Ang kanya pong declared net worth nilang mag-asawa ay 71,058,841. Tama po ba? Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, again, I'm reading the 2022 SALN submitted by the Vice President at ang kanyang declared net worth for that year was 71,058,841.
At magkakano po yung kanyang declared na cash at cash deposit noong taong 2022?
Your Honor, based on the 2022 SALN submitted by the Vice President, wala po nakadeclare na na cash on hand or bank deposits.
Pakisiguraduhin po ninyo, baka namamalikmata lang po kayo.
Give us a few seconds, Your Honor. Your Honor, based on our second look for this SALN, wala din po talaga nakalagay na cash on hand or bank deposit.
Okay, so pupunta po tayo sa 2023. Dito po, meron pong sa kanyang SALN, meron po siyang declared net worth nilang mag-asawa, no? 77,508,841. Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, based on the submitted 2023 SALN of the Vice President, Ang nakalagay po na net worth niya for that year was 77,508,841.
At magkakano naman po yung kanyang declared na cash at cash deposit noong taong 2023?
Your Honor, based on the 2023 SALE and submission by the Vice President, wala pong nakalagay na cash on hand or bank deposits declared.
So sa 2023, wala pa rin po.
Wala po, Your Honor.
Okay. So, punta na po tayo sa kanyang declared SALN for the year 2024. Ang sabi po dito, meron po siyang declared net worth na 88,512,370.22. Tama po ba to?
Your Honor, based on the 2024 SALN submitted by the Vice President, the declared net worth then was 88,512,370.22.
At magkakano po yung kanyang cash deposit? Declared cash at saka cash deposit noong taong 2024.
Your Honor, reading from the 2024 SALN of the Vice President, wala pong nakadeclared na cash on hand or bank deposit for that year.
Wala pa rin po.
Yes, Your Honor.
So sa madaling salita, yung kanya pong cash na dineclare was only from 2007 up to 2018. Tama po ba?
Based on our received copies of the SALN, Your Honor, yun po yung lumalabas na years na meron po siyang declared cash on hand and bank deposits.
At noong 2019 at 2024, kahit na 5 po, wala po siyang dineklara na cash at saka cash on hand. Tama po ba?
Based on the submitted SALN, Your Honor, wala pong nakalagay na cash on hand or bank deposits.
Kahit 5 po?
Wala pong nakalagay, Your Honor.
Edi wow. Thank you po, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chua. Any other member who wish to raise clarificatory questions to the Ombudsman? Any other member?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Barbers is recognized.
Good morning, Honorable Ombudsman Remulla. Gusto ko po lamang humingi ng clarification sa inyong tanggapan. Based po sa SALN ng taong 2007, si VP Sara Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Manasseh Carpio ay mayroon pong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod. 1, Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Si Attorney Karen Bato po yung pwede sumagot.
Yes, salamat.
Thank you. Attorney Bato is recognized.
Good morning, Your Honor. Again, reading from the 2007
May
SALN.
we interrupt Attorney Bato? We just like to extend our thanks to Ombudsman Boying Remulla for showing utmost respect to the impeachment process. Thank you for being here. He is soliciting our excuse because of huge amount of work he has to attend to. So with the indulgence of the members, we're excusing Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Maraming salamat po. We did not suspend. So, may we request Attorney Batu to address the questions of the Honorable Barbers.
Good morning, Your Honor. Again, reading from the 2007 SALN submitted by the Vice President, the business interest and financial connections declared then was the Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, and City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation.
May we flash the concerned SALN? What year is this, Honorable Barbers?
Now, 2008.
2008, okay. Now 2008, the focus is on the list of companies?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2008, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Manes Carpio ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod. 1. Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation. 2. Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3. City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Your Honor, reading from the 2008 submitted SALN of the Vice President, ang mga financial connections and business interests declared therein were Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, and City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation.
Salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2009, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawang si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod. 1. Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation. 2. Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. And 3. City Hall King Chow's Food Corporation. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Your Honor, based on the 2009 submitted SALN of the Vice President, the declared business interests and financial connections were the following: Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation.
Salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2010, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod. 1. Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation. 2. Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3. City Hall King Chow's Foods Corporation. 4. SGT Fortune House Corporation. And number 5, CYKT.Inc. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Your Honor, I'm reading from the 2010 submitted SALN of the Vice President, and the declared business interests and financial connections for that year were the following: Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation, SGT Fortune Horse Corporation, and CYKT Incorporated.
Salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2011, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon ding business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na negosyo. Number 1, Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation. Number 2, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation. 4. SGT Fortune House Corporation. 5. CYKT.Inc. And number 6, Zelta Matiem Salon. Number 7, 3 Kids Inc. Kinukumpirma nyo ba ito?
Based on the 2011 SALN submitted by the Vice President, Your Honor, the following were the declared business interests and financial connections. Davao Emerging Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, City Hall King Chow Foods Corporation, SGT Fortune Horse Corporation, CYKT Incorporated, and Celta Matiem Salon.
Salamat po. Sa taong 2016, based naman ho sa salin ni VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio, ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na negosyo. Number 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. Number 2, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 4, Times Square B Foods Corporation. 5, SGT Fortune House Corporation. 6, CYKT Inc. 7, 3 Kids Inc. Tracking Services Inc. And number 8, Zelta Matiem Salon. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, I'm reading from the 2016 submitted SALN of the Vice President, and the declared business interest and financial connection for that year were the following: Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, Times Square B Foods Corporation, SGT Fortune Horse Corporation, CYKT Inc., 3 Kids Inc. Tracking Services, and Celta Matiem Salon.
Salamat po. And base naman po sa salin ng taong 2017, si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Mans Carpio ay mayroon din hong business interest and financial connections sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2, Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation. 3, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 4, Times Square B Foods Corporation. 5, CYKT Inc. And 6, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, again, I'm reading from the 2017 SALN submitted by the Vice President. Ito po yung kanyang mga declared business interests and financial connections. Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Davao Bounty Times Food Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square B Foods Corp., CYKT Inc., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc.
Maraming salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2018, si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga negosyong sumusunod na mga kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, 3, Times Square B Foods Corporation, and 4, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc. Kinukumpirma niyo po ba ito?
Your Honor, base po dito sa sinumiting SALN ng ating Vice Presidente noong 2018, ang kanyang mga diniklarang business interest and financial connection ay ang Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square B Foods Corp., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc.
Salamat po. Based naman po sa SALN ng taong 2019, si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3, Times Square B Foods Corporation. And 4, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc. Ito po ba ay kinukumpirma ninyo?
Your Honor, based on the 2019 submitted SALN of the Vice President, here are the business interests and financial connections declared for that year. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation, Times Square B Foods Corporation, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines Inc.
Salamat po. Punta naman po tayo sa taong 2020. Si VP Duterte ay mayroong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1, Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2, Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3, Times Square B Foods Corporation. And 4, Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Your Honor, based on the 2020 submitted SALN of the Vice President, the following are the declared business interests and financial connections. Davao New Royal Taipan Corp., Metro City Chow Foods Corp., Times Square Beef Foods Corp., Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc.
Dito naman po tayo sa SALN niya sa taong 2021. Si VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Man Scarpio ay mayroon pong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na mga kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square Beef Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 7. 888 Bistro. And number 8, Mandayao Fisheries, Inc.
May we just request for a confirmation? No need to read again.
Okay.
Your Honor, we can confirm from the submitted SALN of the Vice President for the 2021 that those mentioned by the Honorable Congresswoman were the declared business interests and financial connections for the 2021.
Okay, salamat po. Bali, 8 ho yun, ano? Based naman po sa SALN ni VP Duterte nung taong 2022, at ng kanyang asawa na si Attorney Man Scarpio ay mayroon din pong business interest and financial connections silang mag-asawa sa mga sumusunod na kumpanya. 1. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 2. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 3. Times Square Beef Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 7. 888 Bistro. And number 8, Mandayao Fisheries, Inc. Bali, 8 po.
Your Honor, based on the 2022 SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those you mentioned were those business interests and financial connection declared therein.
Salamat po. Sa taong 2023, sa SALN ni VP Duterte at ng kanyang asawang si Attorney Man Scarpio, may nakadeclare po ng mga business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod na mga negosyo. 1. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 2. Davao New Royal Taipan Corporation. 3. Times Square Beef Foods Corporation. 4. Tapang at Malasakit Alliance for the Philippines, Inc. 5. Carpio Duterte Lawyers. 6. 888 Bistro. 7. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. Number 8, Mandayao Fisheries, Inc. Number 9, Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage, Inc. Number 10, Amyanan Shores, Inc. And 11, Geometry Security and Investigation Agency, Inc.
Your Honor, again, basing on the 2023 submitted SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those you mentioned were the business interests and financial connections declared therein.
Salamat po. Ngayon pong sa taon pong 2024, ang SALN ni VP Duterte at ang kanyang asawa na si Attorney Manasseh Scarpio ay mayroon din pong business interest and financial connection sa mga sumusunod po na kumpanya. 1. Metro City Chow Foods Corporation. 2. GenCorp Industries, Inc. 3. Carpio Lawyers. 4. 888 Bistro. 5. Kale 88 Foods Corporation. 6. Mandayao Fisheries, Corporation. 7, Mati City Ice Plant and Cold Storage Inc. 8, Amyanan Shores Inc. 9, Geometry Security and Investigation Agency Inc. And 10, Cable Tow 88 Shipping and Marine Services Inc. Kinukupirma niyo po ba ito?
Your Honor, reading from the 2024 submitted SALN of the Vice President, we can confirm that those 10 business interests and financial connections that you have read were declared by the Vice President in her 2024 SALN.
Salamat po. So, tama po ba na base sa mga SALN ni VP Duterte at ni Attorney Manscarpio ay kada taon ang mga business interest nila ay dumadami?
We cannot make any conclusion on the ano po, basta kung ano lang po yung binasa ninyo, we can confirm na yun po yung nakalagay sa SALN nila, Your Honor.
We know the answer of Attorney Bato.
Okay. Madam Chair, manifestation.
Yes, you may proceed.
Sana po ay merong maipakita sana sa atin kung ano ang importansya o reason ng pagdami ng mga interest sa mga negosyo ng mag-asawang Duterte Carpio. Like paglaki ng kanilang income, net worth at halaga ng kanilang yaman. Anyway, that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Barbers. Any other Justice member who wish to raise questions to the Office of the Ombudsman?
Madam Chair, manifestation.
The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Observations on what I hear, on what I saw on the screen, and the presentation of those SALNs from 2006 to 2024. The latest in the possession of the Ombudsman. Latest po yung 2024.
Yes, Your Honor.
So wala pa po yung 2025.
We have not received the submission of the 2025
For
SALN of the Vice
2025. So
President.
the latest is 2024.
Yes, Your
Tatlong
Honor.
obserbasyon po. Yung kanina, yung tungkol nga po, yung pag sa questioning po ni Honorable Joel Chua, yung kapansin-pansin na mula 2019 to 2024, the respondent...
Honorable De Lima, kindly speak closer to the microphone. And may I share as well the matrix prepared by the Secretariat with respect to the information gathered from the SALNs of the respondent. Kindly flash the matrix of the SALN of VP Duterte. This may help Honorable De Lima in her clarificatory questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So can we see it, please? The matrix on the first point of observation that I'm making. Yung tungkol po doon sa wala na pong naipakita o wala na pong naideclare o report na cash in bank or cash on hand from 2019 to 2024. Pero nung mga una ay meron mga rini-report na mga cash on hand or cash in bank. So, mali ho atang matrix yung nakalagay dyan. Yung dapat po makita natin, yung matrix na pinapakita na wala na nga ng mga rini-report na cash on hand from 2019. Yes, it's there ho pala. So from 2019 to 2024, wala na pong cash on hand or cash in bank. Para sa akin po, ang biglaan at tuloy-tuloy na pagkawala ng deklarasyon ng liquid assets, because cash on hand and cash in bank are liquid assets. Sa kabila ng dati, meron naman na mga halaga ng mga cash on hand, cash in bank, ay nagdudulot ng pagdududa sa kawastuhan at kabuuan ng subsequent SALNs ni VP Sara. Second point of observation, Madam Chair, tungkol naman po sa liabilities. Nakita rin po natin na as to liabilities, VP Sara declared 6,954,454 in 2016. Nandyan ho ba yan? Yung liabilities, 2016, 6,954,454. At sa 2017 naman, liabilities of 6,313,188 in 2017 and 6,119,113 in 2018. At sa 2019 naman po ay 3,460,790 and 2,490,105.90 in 2020. Kapansin-pansin po na mula 2021, tanging ang kanyang asawa na si Maneses Carpio. Nagre-reflect ho ba yan dyan? Na tanging yung kanyang asawa na si Meneses Carpio ang may dineklarang mga liabilities at wala nang iniulat na utang o liability ni VP. Mako-confirm ho ba yan?
Your Honor, I'm reading from the 2021 SALN submitted by the Vice President, and it is stated there that the liabilities was a personal loan from various creditors po by Attorney Manasseh Carpio.
Yes. How about on the part of VP Sara herself? Meron pa ho ba ng mga report na liabilities in 2016, 20 beginning in 2021? Meron ho ba report na liabilities?
Let me check, Your Honor, with regard to the 2022 SALN of the Vice President. Based on the submitted 2022 SALN of the Vice President, the liabilities stated or declared therein was a personal loan of Manasseh Carpio. That's all, Your Honor, for the 2020.
Manasseh Carpio. How about 2022? So no VP, no Sara Duterte.
For the 2023 SALN, Your Honor, based on the submitted SALN by the Vice President, the liabilities declared therein was a personal loan of Manasseh Carpio, Your Honor.
Again, of Manasseh Carpio and not Sara Duterte. 2024, please.
For the 2024 SALN, Your Honor, reading from the submission of the Vice President, the liabilities were declared to be loans of Manasseh Carpio only, Your Honor, from various creditors and
only
banks.
Manasseh Carpio and not Sara Duterte. Observation with respect to this, for the record, Madam Chair, ang ganitong biglang pagbabago sa paraan ng pag-uulat ng liabilities ay lubhang kahinahinala at nararapat siya sa atin, as it may indicate reclassification.
Louder, Honorable De Lima, please.
Ang ganito pong pagbabago sa paraan ng pag-uulat ng liabilities ay lubhang kahinahinala at nararapat siya sa atin, as it may indicate reclassification or possible circumvention of full disclosure requirements. One last point of observation, pagdating naman po sa net worth. So pinakita po kanina, we can again show po the matrix. We can
Please flash the matrix.
The respondents declared net worth increased from 34,895,997 in 2016 to 71,658,841 in 2022, the year she assumed the office of Vice President. Sa loob lamang ng 2 taon, ito ay lalo pang umakyat sa 88,512,370.22 noong 2024. Obserbasyon po, ang ganitong mabilis at medyo malaking pagtaas ng yaman with the absence of declared liquid assets and the diminution or transfer of liabilities ay nagbubunsod ng seryoso ring pagdududa hinggil sa veracity, transparency, and integrity of the Vice President's financial disclosures. So those are my observations with respect to the SALNs. Maraming salamat po.
The observations of the Honorable De Lima are noted by the committee.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Keith Flores.
Madam Chair, I just have a few questions for the Ombudsman. Madam Chair, every government employee is required to fill up a SALN, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in that SALN, di ba, may sa bottom niyan is may waiver, no? every government employee in filling up a SALN also executes a waiver. Tama po ba?
Can we show the last page of the SALN just for reference to the question of the Honorable Flores? Please flash last page of SALN. Attorney Bato?
Your Honor, I'm reading the 2024 SALN, the last page of which reads, I hereby certify that these are true and correct statements of my assets, liabilities, net worth, business interests, and financial connections, including those of my spouse and unmarried children below 18 years of age living in my household, and that to the best of my knowledge, the above enumerated are names of my relatives in the government within the fourth civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. I hereby authorize the Ombudsman or his/her duly authorized representative to obtain and secure from all appropriate government agencies, including the Bureau of Internal Revenue, such documents that may show my assets, liabilities, net worth, business interests, and financial connections, to include those of my spouse and unmarried children below 18 years of age living with me in my household, covering previous years to include the year I first assumed office in government.
So yan nga. But that applies to all, di ba? All government employees.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa standard siya in all SALNs na
Yes.
sinasubmit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, yung second paragraph kasi it says na it authorizes the ombudsman to conduct an investigation or something like that, no? Tama ba? Or to look into. Oo. To gather documents also. Yung second paragraph pa.
Based on this second paragraph, Your Honor, the Ombudsman can look into the or can secure from other government agencies yung mga documents pertaining to the SALN.
And based on that, parang paragraph, in fact, it does not even require a complaint to be filed for the ombudsman to look into these things.
Yes, Your Honor, because it's included in our functions that we can conduct a motu proprio investigation.
Who's with you, Attorney Bato?
I'm with Assistant Ombudsman Armando Sanchez Jr., Your Honor.
Sir, would you be in a better position to answer the questions? Kasi I noticed that our title is parang Central Records ata yung si Attorney
Assistant
Bato.
Ombudsman Sanchez is recognized.
Good morning, Your Honors. Yes, sir. We confirm that we can conduct motu proprio investigation.
Based on that portion of the SALN?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now, in this particular case, sir, was there an investigation ever conducted on the part of the Vice President?
Your Honor, please, with all due respect, we are not, we have no knowledge or idea if there is ongoing investigations against the PP.
Ongoing or previously wala talaga.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi there were reports before, di ba? I've read in the newspaper a long time ago na may investigation na kinonduct. That's not true. You're not confirming it.
Honorable Flores is reminded to confine the questions to what appears in the SALN, the subject matter of the subpoena.
It's just related to the waiver, madam. Anyway, I'll withdraw that question. No? So, ano na lang na sa waiver na yan, you just answered na wala kang alam na investigation being made by the Ombudsman as of now.
Your Honor, as far as I'm concerned, I have no idea or knowledge regarding any investigation, Your Honor.
So, are you speaking on your personal capacity as his ombudsman or for the ombudsman as an office?
Your Honor, as Assistant Ombudsman, assisting the records officer of the Office of the Ombudsman, Your Honor.
So, not as for in behalf of the entire office of the ombudsman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Meaning somebody else might have knowledge or information about it, but not you?
I confirm, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Just for the record, the last question of the Honorable Flores springs from the waiver that appears at the last page of the SALN. Whether or not, as a consequence of the waiver, there is any past or current investigation being conducted by the Office of the Ombudsman. That's for the record. Any other member who wish to? Honorable Marcoleta, please understand that you are
Madam
not a
Chair.
member of the Justice Committee. You're allowed to manifest, but you cannot raise clarificatory questions to the
Yes, ma'am,
resource
but
persons.
I'm about to
You may proceed.
raise a manifestation, ma'am, about the SALN, ma'am. First of all, let me state on record that the SALNs discussed were not attached in the original complaints. Hindi po sila kasama sa original complaints. And using the SALNs as a starting point without necessary predicate evidence supports the position that the investigation of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice is a fishing expedition. And if I may add, Madam Chair, on the SALN issue, the complaint asks this committee to obtain bank records, SALNs, coordinate with the AMLC, and forensic accounting. If so, it is an acknowledgement that the complaint is still seeking the very facts it needs to conclusively prove its SALN theory. Ma'am, malaki po kasi yung pinagkaiba ng isang complaint that already alleges ultimate facts supported by evidence, and a complaint that substantially requests this committee to authorize this committee to investigate, and perhaps we will later find the proof. And if I also raise this observation, Madam, regarding the Ombudsman, the independence of the Ombudsman may be put to question before this body. The House of Representatives Committee on Justice summons the Ombudsman before the members of Congress and the public to present the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of the Vice President. While the Ombudsman has an ongoing investigation before its office, the Ombudsman is mandated to have the primary duty to conduct investigations over the misconduct of public officers.
Madam Chair, point of order.
There's a point of order, Honorable Marcoleta.
Just would like to
Honorable
clarify.
Bishop Abante.
I would like to clarify, to ask the Congressman Marcoleta. Sinabi niya kanina, hindi kasama yung SALN sa original complaint.
Yes, he mentioned that.
Oh, I'd like to clarify. Paano niya nasabi yun? Kasama eh. Ito, babasahin ko. Vice President Sara Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust in amassing unexplained wealth and failing to disclose all her properties and interests in properties in her SALN. Nagalagay po sa complaint eh. Anong sinasabi niya na hindi kasama sa original complaint? I'd like to find out from him.
Honorable
Kaya ang hirap
Marcoleta.
noon kung, Chair, salita siya ng salita dito. Kinakailangan maging sure tayo na hindi nabanggit.
And if I may add, for the guidance of the honorable members and in response to the manifestation of the Honorable Marcoleta, I will be reading the specific paragraph where matters concerning SALN was mentioned in the complaint. With regards to Sabala complaint, there are allegations in paragraph 107, 108, 109, and paragraphs 285 to 290. And for Cabrera complaint, may we refer the Honorable Marcoleta as well to paragraph 20.3, paragraph 76, paragraph 77, paragraph 232, paragraph 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, and even from paragraphs 244 to 246. For the information of the Honorable Marcoleta,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
mentioned
Binanggit po ang-
paragraphs contained allegations which are relevant to the SALNs of the respondent.
Yes, ma'am, it was mentioned, I think, very adequately, the word SALNs, but They were never attached to the original complaints. Parang this complaint is just merely requesting the committee to produce evidence. Ibig sabihin, wala pang ebidensya, nakikiusap sa committee na ito para mag-produce ng ebidensya na hindi nakakabit sa original complaints. Yun lang po ang sinasabi ko, ma'am.
In other words, you admit that there were a lot of times that SALNs were mentioned in the impeachment complaint. However,
They were never
not
attached.
attached in the
Opo.
impeachment
Wala pa
complaint.
pong ebidensyang nakalakip doon po sa complaint. At ngayon pa lang po natin binubuksan dahil ito po ay kumbaga request ng complainant.
Please understand as well that the compulsory process that was granted to the Justice Committee is for the purpose of testing the sufficiency of the allegations in the complaint, whether the same constitute probable cause, which is the mandate of this proceeding. So, with all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta, it is our humble position that all the actions of this committee, including the issuance of subpoena of all these questioned SALNs by Your Honor, is in accordance with the rules of impeachment, the Constitution, and even with the decisions of the Honorable Supreme Court.
Ma'am, the court will be the better judge of that.
And that is why you should elevate that before the Honorable Court.
Maybe not me, but some other parties. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wish to raise clarificatory questions to the Ombudsman? Hearing none, may we direct the committee secretary to call the Vice President
Madam
in
Chair,
order
just,
to extend to her
Madam Chair.
the opportunity to present evidence, including those which will counter the testimony provided already and the documents provided already by the Office of the Ombudsman.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Garbin is recognized.
Thank you, Madam. Just a few questions to the representatives of the Ombudsman. Kayo ho'y nagpresenta ng SALN, and what was presented by your office are those SALNs under your custody and the entries, the official entries in those SALN. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
But that entries does not say whether there is a misdeclaration, untruthful declaration, or willful non-disclosure that will lead to unexplained wealth. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, binasa ko lang po kung ano yung, at kinonfirm ko lang po kung ano yung nakalagay sa SALN.
Honorable Garbin, I'm afraid but we are not allowed to raise questions which will go beyond what appears in the SALN.
That's why, Madam Chair, I just need confirmation whether that
Yes.
presentation
Issues concerning misdeclaration.
yields in support to the complainants. First of all, Madam Chair, wala yung complainant dito eh.
I understand, but please limit your questions to
And that's why I
the
want to ask
contents of the
sana yung
affidavit.
complainant
Contents of the
as
SALN.
to his allegation, because it was pointed out that the SALN was only part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. But as correctly pointed out by Mr. Marcoleta, or Congressman Marcoleta, those SALN that was, or that we want to specifically pinpoint that have material misdeclaration or untruthful declaration was never attached in the first place
We are
in the
not
complaint.
yet on that, Honorable Garbin.
We
are
were
only on the existence of the SALNs.
We were already through on that. We already approved, voted on the ultimate facts and the sufficiency in substance. And the annexes provided in the complaint, Madam Chair. So what we have here is an improvement of the complaint, of the complainant's evidence. Tayo yung nagpuproduce ng ebidensya which is not supposed to be the case.
With all due respect, Honorable Garbin, the issuance of the subpoena is not for the purpose of adding supplementing or correcting whatever appears in the complaint. The purpose of the issuance of subpoena is to test whether the complaint is sufficient already for the existence of probable cause. To aid the justice members in judging whether or not probable cause exists on the basis of the allegations in the complaint, including the attached documents.
If I may, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, let me walk you through Section 7 of our Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings. Sabi po dito, the committee shall conduct a hearing. The committee, through the chairperson, may limit the period of examination by members of the committee. The committee shall have the power to issue compulsory processes for the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and other related evidence. So, yun po yung ginagawa po natin dito. This SALN, ito pong SALN na to ay pumapasok po dito po sa power ng committee. Hindi naman po tayo ang nagsasabi niyan. Ang nagsasabi po niyan ay ang ating rules. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed,
Madam
I just
Chair.
want to state for the record, Honorable De Lima, that the committee is already in receipt of the notices of disallowance referred to by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA during the April 14 hearing. This pertains to the disallowances of the first 3 quarters of the OVP Confidential Fund of 2023, the first, the second, and the third. The total amount of these notices of disallowances is 375 million pesos. So the COMSEC is directed to provide copy of this notices of disallowance to the Vice President, the complainant, and all the members of the Justice Committee. The same is true with respect to the decision referred to as well by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA. This is to prove that the appeal pertaining to the last quarter of 2022 confidential fund of OVP has been denied, which means that the notice of disallowance for the last quarter of 2022 was affirmed by the Commission on Audit. Likewise, the Committee Secretariat is directed to provide copy of the same to the Vice President, the complainants, and all the Justice members. Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wish to put forth additional counter-arguments on the points raised by the Honorable Marcoleta and also certain points raised by the Honorable Garbin. Okay. First, we have determined already sufficiency in substance of the complaints. Sufficiency in substance, both in form and substance, and that includes the annexes. Pangalawa po, hindi po required na lahat ng mga pwedeng ebidensya ay dapat na produce na ng complainants at the time of the filing of the complaint. And that's why we have these processes of subpoena para makalakap ng mga ebidensya na nakasabi sa complaint tsaka yung mga related evidence. Ang importante po dito, especially in the issuance of subpoena, yung requirements of specificity or sufficiently described yung mga dokumento na pinapaproduce at yung relevance to the issue. Wala pong duda dun sa mga subpoena po natin ng production for the production of specific documents like respondent SALNs, the AMLAC records of the flagged bank transactions of the respondent, the records of her corporate holdings, records of her financial transactions. These are all relevant to the grounds alleged in the complaint. They directly relate to the issues actually and specifically raised in the 3rd and 4th impeachment complaints, the Sabalia et al. And Cabrera complaints, particularly that respondent purportedly engaged in culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery, including the accumulation of unexplained and or ill-gotten wealth, and her ownership of secret bank accounts worth millions, if not billions of pesos, all of which she did not declare in her SALNs. Doon sa punto na ini-improve daw po natin. Actually, there's nothing wrong about that, improving the evidence that are sought to be presented by the complainants, kasi tayo nga po ang magiging prosecutors later, and we are determining at this point the existence of probable cause, and therefore we need the guidance of any other relevant evidence para makarating po sa determinasyon na yan ng existence of probable cause. We develop, we improve, we ask for other additional evidence as long as they are relevant to the issue or issues as alleged in the complaints. So wala pong mga linalabag dito na mga principles pagdating po sa tungkol doon sa kailangan ba na linalagay lahat o pinipresenta na lahat sa complaint pa lang. So malinaw po yan, Madam Chair, hindi po kailangan. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chel Jokno is recognized.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Wala naman pong pinagkaiba ang ginagawa ng Committee on Justice dun sa ginagawa ng isang prosecutor na nagko-conduct ng preliminary investigation. Just like a prosecutor under the rules of the House, we have the power to issue subpoena to determine what used to be called probable cause, although what is now called certainty of conviction. And para sa akin, mas mahalaga pa nga yung tungkulin natin na yon dahil wala pa naman po tayo sa adversarial stage. We are very clearly in the inquisitorial stage where we are meant to inquire whether there is sufficient probable cause. Kaya po tayo binigyan ng ngipin ng House rules para makapagsabpina ay para nga makita ang ebidensya. And I'm very disappointed at any attempts to remove that power from us, because that is precisely why the Constitution requires that we conduct a hearing. Yung hearing naman natin, hindi para marinig natin yung salita ng iba't ibang mga nandito ngayon, kung hindi makita mismo yung ebidensya. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Madam
Chair.
The Honorable Garbin.
Madam Chair.
At the outset, Madam Chair, let me state that I am for the truth and for knowing whether there's material or misdeclaration on the SALN. What I'm saying here, the observance of procedural due process. Going back to the complaint, as stated, this specific SALN were not attached. And when you say observance of procedural due process, ang tinatawag po doon, paano makakapagsagot yung isang respondent kung wala naman specific allegations doon sa mga iprinisintang SALN? We agree that we have compulsory processes to produce those documents relevant to this hearing, but the absence of giving opportunity to the respondent the right to be heard or to answer, and those specific allegations, it's not even a specific allegation because it was part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. Ako po ay isang abogado bago mambabatas. Ako po ay dumaan din sa napakaraming preliminary investigation. And kung magpipresenta tayo dito ng dokumento na hindi natin bibigyan ng oportunidad yung inaakusahan dito, then where is the procedural due process? That's why I'm saying, are we improving the complaint? Or it is better left to the impeachment court to present all these documents so that the respondent will also have the right to confront those evidence presented against her.
Notice is being given to her.
And the right also to examine those specific SALN that allege misdeclarations of unexplained wealth.
Honorable Garbin, I just want to state for the record that since the start of the presentation of witnesses and evidence, We've been sending notices to the Vice President, to the respondent, and as a matter of fact, even after every resource person, we are calling the Vice President to check if she is present so we can cater the opportunity to be heard that you are mentioning. Honorable Garbin, in as far as due process is concerned, I honestly believe that this committee has been amply complying in providing the same to the respondent Vice President. And let us all be reminded that this issue raised by the Honorable Garbin is already pending before the Supreme Court. So with the indulgence of the justice members, perhaps we should leave this to the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. With that, can we proceed to the presentation of our resource persons?
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Tino.
may I ask some clarificatory questions regarding from the Ombudsman?
The Ombudsman.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Could we have the summary table of the SALN of the VP?
Can we
on
flash
the
again the
screen?
matrix? You need the matrix?
Opo.
Kindly flash the matrix, Secretariat.
Alright, thank you po. Just to confirm lang po sa Ombudsman, napansin ko lang po kasi na yung declaration or statement of assets, both real assets and personal assets for the years 2019 and 2020 are exactly the same. Tama po ba yan? Hindi naman kaya baka nagkamali lang nung cut and paste. Is that correct?
2019 and 2020.
Yes, is that correct? 2019, the real assets are 39,798,891, and that is the exact same figure for 2020. Tama po ba? And then for personal assets, the figure is 19,274,950 for both 2019 and 2020. Tama po yun?
Your Honor, based on the 2019 and 2020 SALNs submitted by the Vice President to the Office of the Ombudsman, we can confirm that
Exactly
the real assets and personal assets were the same for those 2 years.
Okay. And for the years 2021 to 2022, the personal assets are exactly the same. Tama po ba? 20.
Please show the matrix.
23,849,950 personal assets. Tama po na pareho. Sakto.
That is 2021 and 2022 personal assets.
Your Honor, reading from the 2021 and 2022 submitted SALNs of the Vice Presidents, we can confirm that for the personal properties declared therein, it's the same amount po.
Okay. Thank you. So, again, and of course, yung sa real assets in the years 2009 to 2011, pareho, no? And also for 2016 and to
2009 to 2011 real assets. Closer to the microphone, Kong Tino.
Well, siguro, Madam Chair, thank you for the confirmation. So I was just I just wanted to check whether tama yung matrix. No? So
Can we
maybe-
mark also 2009 to 2011 real assets? 10 million. Exactly the same as well. May we see confirmation from the OMB?
Give us a few seconds, Your Honor. Give us a few seconds, Your Honor.
Yes, please. 09, 10, and 11.
Your Honor, based on the 2009, 2010, and 2011 submitted SALNs of the Vice President, we can confirm that the declaration therein was stated as 10,802,668.65 for the 3 years.
That's
Okay.
the same, exactly
Thank-
the
thank
same
you.
amount.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please flash the matrix, please. That's the 2009, 10, and 11 real assets. 10,802,668 pesos and 65 centavos. Exactly the same amount for 09, 10, and 11. Honorable Tino.
And for the sake of completeness, 2016, 2017, real assets, same.
2016 and 2017.
Opo.
Real assets. Matrix. So for the record, 2016 and 2017, based on the matrix, the amount is exactly the same. That's 30,548,891 pesos. May we request confirmation from the OMB?
Your Honor, basing from the 2016 and 2017 SALN of the Vice President, the real properties declared therein is at 30,548,891 for the 2016 and 2017
So,
year.
you confirm?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Uh,
Honorable
th- th-
Tino?
Thank you for that. Just a few observations, Madam Chair.
Yes, you may proceed.
Opo. So, I suppose for the real assets, that can be explained, no? Kasi mga lote ito. So, perhaps from year to year, hindi magbabago. As to the personal assets, I don't have a copy of all of the SALNs. Could the ombudsman maybe just name the the breakdown of the personal assets in particular that were declared by the Vice President? Kasi mas medyo gusto ko lang unawain bakit hindi nagbabago from year to year yung declaration of personal assets. Ma'am?
Your Honor, may I clarify kung anong year po ng SALN?
Okay. So for example, yung 2019 to 2020 and 2021 to 2022, pareho po kasi yung figures for personal assets for 2 years. So I'm just trying to further understand bakit hindi nagbago yon.
I don't think, Honorable Tino, that Attorney Bato is competent to answer your question.
No, as far as I know, there would be a breakdown of personal assets in the SALN, the entries.
Is there a breakdown? You can confine your answer to what appears in the SALN.
Your Honor, based on the SALN submitted by the Vice President, the personal properties were described therein. May description po.
So can you confirm if the personal properties enumerated in the two concerned calendar years are exactly the same? That's
Your-
20 and 21.
Yes. 19, 20, and 21 and 22.
Just to confirm, Your Honor, so we're speaking of the SALENs from 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Yes.
Kindly flash the matrix. The question of Honorable Tino is whether there are changes in the properties, personal assets of the respondent which generated the total exact amount for 2019 and 20, and then for 2021 and 2022. Maybe 2019 and 20 first.
For the 2019 and 2020, Your Honor, based on the SALN submitted, we can confirm that the Vice President declared the same personal
Exactly the
properties.
same personal assets. How about
Could
21 and 22?
Could we ask what assets were declared?
If I'm allowed to read the personal properties.
Yes, you may proceed.
Of the Vice President declared in her 2019 and 2020 SALNs, these are the following: a vehicle van, vehicle declared as motorcycles, other personal properties, various items, other personal properties, various items, vehicle car, vehicle pickup, other personal properties.
Okay, and that's the same for both years.
Yes, Your Honor, we can confirm that it's the same for
Okay.
2019 and 2020.
Okay, so general po, mga various items, parang ganon. Okay.
Those were the items listed po dun
Okay.
sa kanyang SALN.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That will be all, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Perhaps we can proceed to directing the COMSEC to call the Vice President. COMSEC, please.
May we know if the Vice President is present today? The respondent Vice President is not present today, Madam Chair.
Let it be placed on the record that the committee secretary called the Vice President in order that we will be providing her the opportunity to present her evidence or to raise clarificatory questions through the justice members. That is for the record.
Mag-subscribe at i-click ang notification bell para sa mga susunod na video updates. Maraming salamat po.